a second to set up. Mm-hmm. We live. All right, we got sound. All right, all right, all right. If I could be heard on YouTube, please put a 1 in the chat. Please put a 1 in the chat. We just here before time. The interview's actually scheduled for 1 o'clock. Which is not an issue. Jeremy needed to push the time back. So we're waiting now. The link has been sent out. We're just chilling right now. Y'all relax. You know. All right. I need to know, did he get the link? I need to know, was that link received? Any sound? Any sound? Can y'all hear sound? Nobody? Okay, don't worry about it. I know what to do. I'll just turn on some. What is this? Lo-fi? Let's go low. Let's go lo-fi with the background. Do I hear anything? Oh, you will? Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, y'all already know how this goes. If I can turn that lo-fi music off, then no need to have that. As long as you can hear that, then that means we're good. Y'all know how this goes. Shout out to y'all. Salute to the team. Shout out to everybody. We just waiting on Jeremy to show up. I'm sure he's a busy man. And if he don't show up, we still gonna rock out. But shout out to y'all. Hope y'all having a good Saturday. No, relax, relax. Everything cool. Everything cool. I'm just letting everybody know, just in case we still gonna rock out. That's all I'm saying. But because we're here. Since we're here, we're here. But shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to the team. Shout out to the fam. Salute to everybody. Um, I'm trying to see if I can add this thumbnail. You guys know this is my first time using. Oh, we got Jeremy on stage, you guys. Give me a second. I'm gonna bring Jeremy up. I don't know if. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Good afternoon, Jeremy. Give me 1 second, please, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Shout out to the fam. Shout out to everybody on the YouTube. Shout out to everybody on Twitch. Okay, Twitch is wacky. There we go. How do I? You know what? I think I'll worry about adding this thumbnail later because that's going to take too much time and we need to get to work. This man's time is precious. So let's just go. How about that? There we go. Add to stage.
Oh, I need to turn my camera. You can hear me?
Where is my sound? Why can't I hear anything? Mr. Mclymont, how are you?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There we go. I hear you very well, loud and clear. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. We didn't have time to prep a pregame. We jumped right into this. I appreciate your time, man. We appreciate you for taking the time out and giving us a little bit of your holiday and family time on this Saturday. Thank you very much, good sir.
Sir, no problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, Mike from the Ville. We see everybody. We're gonna get right to it. Okay, just to let you know, this is the Ruminati Network. We do appreciate you. We are pretty much professionally unprofessional, so that would explain the polo with the ski mask, But thank you very much, man. First of all, any questions that you feel that you don't want to answer or shouldn't be answered, we completely understand.
All right.
We ask some of these questions, they may seem a bit quirky or whatever, but we're an unbiased platform. Some people in the audience may be biased, but we run an unbiased platform, and we're just here to not only talk about the cases, but get to know a little more about you because we see the work. You put your name out there, you're on the radar, and we want to know more about Jeremy. So,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Let's get to it. Now, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about your background, what really got you into law? I did see in prior interviews that you said your father had been locked up, and that may have had some influence on it.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, definitely. So there's a few things, mainly centered around the people that I knew growing up, whether it be family or friends, getting in trouble with the law. My,
Yes, sir.
my dad being one of those people. But it was more than him, people that I knew, uncles, uh, cousins, different people. Like I got a cousin doing life in prison in Mississippi, right? And that happened when we were in high school. And so, like things like that, every time things like that happened, it reared me into the direction I'm in now because I always wanted to do something. I always wanted to help. And you feel sort of helpless when you see somebody going through that situation. And so, being a criminal defense lawyer was, in my view, the obvious answer to helping people in that situation. So that's what it was. And I also got arrested when I was 16, 3 different times for things I didn't do, right? And that was like the final straw, right? So
Hmm.
it was all of that, just like the system itself pushed me in that direction.
All right. Now, am I getting too personal if I ask what those things were that you got arrested for? We can skip
Um,
past
yeah,
that if necessary.
so this is the thing. What I say about it, the person, right, who called the police, we
Mhm.
mended that sort of that bridge. So I don't
Right.
want to go into it and then bring it
No,
back up. But it was for things that I didn't do. They got dismissed.
uh,
The case got dismissed, and um,
understood.
yeah. So I don't want to go back in and then like because we mended. I don't even want to say who the person is or
Yeah,
wasn't.
we don't reopen old wounds. I understand, bro. I definitely understand. Um, Now just a little bit of this. Do you do pro bono work?
So in the sense like I have done some pro bono work, right? I'm really busy, so I don't have a whole lot of like pro bono cases, but here and there I'll take a case for, a lot less than what it should be, or what I call low bono, or some right, or sometimes I'll take it, pro bono, but it just has to make sense. I don't want to do somebody a disservice if I just can't handle it at the time. So yeah, it just has to make sense.
Understood. Now, do you mind if I ask if the Alicia Andrews case was pro bono? I know you said somebody brought you on to that case, and I think you ended up taking over, correct?
Correct. Yeah, so that was not pro bono.
Okay. And what about Milagro? So I'm assuming she's not, right?
She's not pro bono, is what you're saying?
Right.
So when I got on the case, it was the understanding was that it was not pro bono, right? And then this is in court. Everything came out in court, so I'm comfortable talking about that a little
Yes, sir.
bit. But yeah, so Milagro in the beginning was a paid situation, but when Milagro was going up against a multi-million-dollar corporation, right, and individual, at some point she runs out of money. So her runway ran out, but I didn't just leave her hanging. So it started off as a paid situation, and then afterwards, at a certain point in time, she just couldn't keep up with the other side.
Understood, right? When you're fighting those high-powered lawyers like that, man, I know that can be um a task. Is that your first time going against lawyers, I guess, of that magnitude, like a millionaire's team of lawyers?
I would say okay. So lawyers of that magnitude and millionaire lawyers, or lawyers that are being paid by millionaires, two different things, right? So
Okay.
I've gone up against lawyers of much better magnitude who were being paid a lot less money, right? So just because
Mm,
they're getting paid a lot of money doesn't mean that they're anything special.
yes, sir.
So that's one thing. Now, is it the first time I've gone up against lawyers who were backed by millionaires? It probably I would say yeah, because I mainly do criminal defense.
Mhm.
So I guess you could say the government is backed by millions, but the employees aren't getting paid, like crazy amounts of salaries and whatnot. But I do criminal defense cases, so like the other side is usually not backed by a corporation or an individual who's a millionaire. They're backed by the government.
Right. Okay. And with that Milagro case, you had 2 weeks to prepare for that, right?
No. So, and where are you getting that from? Maybe I can clarify what you heard.
This is internet chatter. I didn't hear it specifically from her or anything. So
Yeah. So I got on that case maybe so the trial happened in November. I got on the case maybe in June. I think June. So that was a 5 month stretch, right?
okay,
But when I first got on the case, I wasn't the lead attorney. It was another attorney who was lead. I was just sort of there to help out, do little things here and there. It wasn't like I didn't even at the time I didn't know who Milagro was, Milagro Cooper. Somebody just asked me, hey, can you help get me admitted into the Southern District of Florida because they didn't practice here in Florida in the Southern District either. So I helped get them admitted, what they call Pro Hoc Vice, and then after that, my role slowly started to become more and more involved with the case, and then I became lead attorney. And this is maybe what you heard, maybe about 2 weeks prior, maybe even less than 2 weeks prior to the actual trial itself.
okay. That's what. Okay, so you were already abreast of all the information and everything. It wasn't like you had to cram
Yeah, well,
this whole
so
case in 2 weeks and it's just set on you like, Jeremy, do this, make a miracle.
yeah. I would say that I didn't have the necessary time because when I got in June, at that time the case had already been going since I think October of the previous year. So that's like 8 months that the case had already been going, and in that first 8 months is a crucial time period because that's when all the discovery is done, depositions are done, investigation into the case is done. There's a lot of things that had already happened, and I'm trying to catch up in the time that I have the case. So it was a lot of cramming, even from June to November. A lot of cramming, a lot of
Right.
trying to catch up and whatnot. So it would have been a lot better if I was on the case from the very beginning. I would have had a lot more opportunity to dig into certain things that I didn't get a opportunity to do that with, or file certain motions that that I didn't get to file because the time period for those things had already passed by the time I got on the case.
Right. Now, I to personally take the lawyer side out of it. I know that's probably difficult to do. Um, is Milagro only being responsible for, I'm saying only, like I can just pull it out of my pocket, but $60,000 in damages, as opposed to where Tasha K has to pay Cardi B upwards of what, 4 million or something like that. Is that, personally, do you consider that a win, like just from an outside standpoint, where
Yeah,
regardless of when they say, oh, this is the outcome, your client has to pay? To us, that's a win. Do you feel the same?
yeah. I'm a competitive person. Outside of just being competitive, I do want the best for my clients, and so the best possible outcome would have been that there would have been $0 on the board,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you look at it objectively, you take a look from the outside looking in. If someone is suing you for millions of dollars, and that's what they asked the jury for, and they only get 59,000, then it's a win, right?
Indeed.
Like me personally, or anybody, right? Personally, would you invest millions of dollars into something to get back 59,000? Nobody
Not
would.
at all. That's a horrible ROI.
Yeah.
Horrible. um, okay. There was talks, I heard, right, of courtroom bias in the Milagro trial. We
You mean
couldn't see it.
from who? The judge?
Yes.
So I think. Oh, go ahead. Let me let you finish your question.
No, that's pretty much, that was pretty much what it was. Did you notice any bias, any as far as the judge in the Milagro case?
Okay. So I've had biased judges before, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Judge Altanaga, she's the chief judge in the Southern District of Florida, in that district. So she runs a very tight ship, and she can be stern. And the thing with Judge Altanaga is that she's stern to both sides, right? So,
She's fair.
eh, yeah, right. So that's my view of it. Were there times where I thought maybe it was leaning more towards the other side? Yeah, but that could just be me as a advocate for my client. So, but objectively speaking, I would say that she gave the same sort of energy to both sides, and that's all I could ask for, right? So if a judge is going to get on, one set of lawyers for doing something, then
Mm-hmm.
it should be the same energy on the other side. And I think it was pretty even. It may have been like a little, scales were tipped a little bit. And like Megan, there's a lot of human factors that go into it, right? Because Megan is a star. She's famous and whatnot. And so, I mean, like she walks in the room, she captures people's attention and whatnot. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's just, and she's on the stand, she's crying, and it's just, there's a human factor to everything, right? Nobody can be completely 100%, even keeled about everything. But Judge Altanaga I think, in my opinion, I think she did a fair job. I wouldn't call her a biased judge.
Yes, sir. And I do, just to go further into what you said about the human aspect of it. Milagro herself, I saw where she said she was even affected by Meg's testimony. When she got on the stand, she was shedding tears and stuff like that. So just that was just to add more to what you said about that. But I had do to continue with the biased judge questions. I want to ask about the Alicia Andrews case.
Mhm.
Um, with that and dealing with that judge and the situation now, can you are you allowed to speak on that at all?
I can speak on it. I'll temper, what I say. But
Yes, sir.
question.
Um,
No, go ahead.
how does it feel? How is it when it seems like a judge is one-sided and you're fighting, you're giving your client everything you can, but it seems like whatever you present is rejected by this judge. How do you fight that battle mentally when you're standing there looking at that as part of,
Yeah, it is difficult, but you got to keep your cool. And I had a trial professor, H.T. Smith, and he always say, "Never let them see you sweat." And
Mhm,
so that's the attitude that you got to have in those situations. And you'd be surprised. Um, I've tried a lot of cases at this point, probably like 35 or so cases, and my personal experience is that I get that same sort of energy from a lot of judges. And I don't know if it's because I'm young. I don't know if it's because I'm black. I don't know if it's because I represent people who are charged with crimes, right? But the almost like the vast majority of judges tend to have that same sort of um, attitude and what I think bias against either the defense team or the client or whatever, right? So in those situations, what I don't think those judges realize is that the jury starts to see it, right? In the beginning, and it can go both ways, but in the beginning, they may be thinking to themselves, oh, this lawyer either doesn't know what he's doing or he's doing something wrong. Because, like, why would a judge talk to the person like that? Why would the judge
mhm.
say what he's saying about the person? Why would she question his integrity in front of everybody? Why would she do that? But as the trial progresses and you see it happen for reasons that really shouldn't be happening for, that that benefit of the doubt that you give the judge starts to go away in the juror's mind, in my view. And then it starts to look like you've got prosecutors and the judge against the defense.
Working. Mhm.
So sometimes that can work in the defense's favor because it gives you like an underdog, um, atmosphere. So I've had trials where it's just me. In the Alicia Andrews case, there were a few different attorneys working with me, but sometimes it's just me at the table with my client. Actually, most times. And so in those situations, it'll be two prosecutors and a judge. And then it looks like it's 3-on-1, right? And I'm doing everything. And I've had people watch those trials and they tell me, look, you're doing good if you stay calm and cool. Like these are people in the audience or whatever. I think it's working in your favor because the jury is looking at all of it and seeing that like the whole thing is rigged kind of against you. So I've had trials like that where I think it's worked out. And, I always just try to keep my cool and make sure that I don't, do things that depth. Because in those moments, in those trials, the judges are waiting for you to actually mess up. Like
Mm,
they try to get you in little, areas here and there. And if you're tight and you're doing what you're supposed to do, then they can't really drive home their point. But the one time they find you doing something wrong or you're wrong on a legal issue or whatever, that's when they drive home the anchor and they try to do it in front of the jury so that, they can see that you're doing something wrong. But as long as you keep it tight and you keep it cool, calm and collected, I think it works
mhm.
better for you. I'd rather not have to deal with that at all. I'd rather just
Indeed.
have a fair trial. I'd rather have a judge treat me with respect and the client with respect and just be a neutral arbiter in the trial. But it is what
Mhm.
it is.
Well, you do a good job dealing with it. Like I think it was the interview with Miss Taylor. They was talking about your resolve, how calm you are. You said you don't need to raise your voice. That's not your character. Like
Yeah.
even just the one time where the judge was kind of getting at you, you did good. You're very poised. Stay professional. Now just we'll get back to the heavy stuff. Just side note, what about the criticism? You know, the onlookers, me included, people who are watching and who don't have an idea. We think we have an idea about what's going on with the law, and we say, why is he taking that angle? Or why is the defense suggesting this? Or is the closing, why is the cross-examination from the defense so short? Like things that we may not understand. Like, how do you deal with that? Just the
Yeah.
judgment of yourself, you know?
So here's the thing. I I don't focus on what everyone else is saying.
Hmm.
Again, I'm a trained professional at what I do. If you've never seen it before, and you go into a room, delivery room, and you see a doctor and a doctor and a nurse and the whole team, and a woman's on the bed, she's about to give birth, and you see everyone just start running around frantically, and they cut the woman's stomach open and they yank the baby out, you'll be like, "Oh my God, this doctor is trying to kill this woman," because you don't know, you never seen it before. You're not a professional. It's not your like, you don't know what's going on, right? And you're probably thinking in your head like, what's going on? Like I'm gonna go call the police. They gotta stop this.
Right.
But the doctor and the nurses, they know what they're doing. And if they're doing the C-section, they're doing it to save two people's lives, the woman and the baby probably, right? So, like people who are looking in from the outside that don't have any idea what's going on and how this thing works, you can't like look at that. You gotta wait till the end, and then at the end, and I, when the results come out, then you can say, okay, that's why I did this. That's why I did that because I got this result, right? So, I mean, for whatever it was, for whatever situation you might be thinking about, let's say, for example, short cross examinations. There were several witnesses I didn't even cross examine in the Alicia Andrews trial.
Hmm.
Like, why would I get up there and ask questions for a witness who didn't provide anything, any value to the state's case? What am I going to ask that person? Nothing. It's more powerful that I just sit down and don't ask any questions because it just means that that witness didn't have nothing for me to talk about, and the jury is watching that. And so every time I don't have any questions for this witness, they know I'm trying to focus the jury on what's important. If I get up there and just start asking random questions, they're going to be looking at this, thinking about that. I want them to be focused on when I'm cross examining and I'm asking questions, that these questions are important, right? So if I'm asking a few amount of questions, if I'm asking no questions, if I'm asking a lot of questions, it's for a reason. Like I cut straight to the point. I
So you
don't go ahead.
cut the fluff.
I don't like fluff.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Okay, because they were it seemed to be a lot of fluff in there. The
And that
same
killed them.
way.
It killed them. The whole trial was fluff. They were talking about this person and that person and these
That's
gangs. It was all
I
fluff.
I'm an honest person. I'm honest. I'm watching. It's part criticism, part entertainment. You know, you when you're doing this and this people are watching you watch other people, you're looking for things to, okay, that's a moment I can make something out of. So it may not be like a honest criticism. It just may be a moment to where you could say, hey, look at that shirt or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, to keep the people entertained. But in reality, um, you are a professional. You are up there doing something that the majority of us watching can't do, don't understand, won't probably ever fully understand. You know what I mean? So, but just to long story short, we criticized the the state, the prosecution as well, because I was wondering why were they putting the guys on trial when we're supposed to be here talking about Alicia? Because everything they said was painting a picture for the guys. I'm like, she has nothing to do with this. This young lady is about to go home.
yeah. So I
Like,
can't speak for their strategy, right? To an extent, they have to put on the evidence in the case. But for example, right, when you have a witness get up there and talk about the firearms that were found in the case, and these firearms have no connection to Alicia Andrews, and you have the witness talk about how the safety on the firearm works, and you have the witness talk about how this firearm is made and what's the parts of it, and they're up there for an hour talking about a gun that has nothing to do with Alicia Andrews. That's where you kind of like have to draw the line. Like you could talk about the gun. This is a gun that was found, and maybe it had the bullet in it or the bullets that come from it can match the bullets that were at the scene, right? Draw that point and be done with it. But then to draw it out for an hour or more for no reason. It's pointless.
I I understand. Um, Shout out to the chat. Salute to y'all. I see y'all. We'll get to y'all in a minute. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the team. Salute to everybody on Twitch and everybody live on YouTube. We have Jeremy Mclymont in the building, taking some of his time out to sit down with us, and we appreciate him for that. Jeremy, how big, or excuse me, how much is there was a case you tried.
Mm-hmm.
Tanius Smith. Am I saying that name correct? The McDonald's incident, and you had held
Yeah,
a press conference for her.
Giannis Jones.
Giannis Jones, excuse me. There was once again a lot of chatter. I even saw a YouTube video where a guy was criticizing you for that, and all I saw was somebody going above and beyond for their client, to be honest. That's how I viewed it. When this guy is breaking down, oh, he's saying all the bad things. I'm like, no, he's bringing you into her world, her mind. I see, and we'll get into that as well. I notice you do that a lot as well. You want to paint the picture of this is the reason why. You have a lot of understanding, and we appreciate you for that. I'm gonna just say that. But how much of a factor is the court of public opinion, even though it doesn't hold weight with the outcome of the actual case? But how much of a factor is public opinion, especially when we're all watching like the Alicia trial and you speak on the bias, and some of us can see the bias, right? Like, does that weigh in at all as far as how these outcomes play?
The question, I mean, the answer is it can, because here's the thing. I don't go home with the jurors at night. I'm not looking at their phones. I'm not in the dinner table with them, the bedroom with them. I don't know what they do when they go home. They very well could get on the internet or on their Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and they could see the things that are being said in the court of public opinion, and that could affect them in the trial itself. So, in those instances, the court of public opinion can affect the trial if the jurors are exposed to it. And it can affect it positively or negatively, right? We don't know. And I can never, say whether a juror did or didn't go online and see something.
Right.
So, in a case where they don't see any of the stuff that's going on online, then it has no effect. It's just me and the jurors. All the stuff that was going on, like for instance, I saw during the Alicia Andrews trial when all the music videos were going back and forth. I saw like a bunch of fire emojis and whatnot. I didn't see it in the time that it was happening because I was in the trial, but it came like people were sending me screenshots. There was like fire emojis in the chat, right? Everybody was like talking about how this track was better than that one, or this rapper was better than this one. That was a whole conversation going on, like a whole joke outside, court. Me, the jurors, the judge, we didn't have no clue. It was dead serious in there in that time period, but everyone else is like joking and laughing about it. I mean, it was dead serious. You imagine we're in court, it's quiet, we're playing music videos, and the music videos are not just like they're not a joke. Like these people are talking
No,
about
not at all. Right.
they got guns. They're talking about killing each other. It's like it's a real tense environment in the courtroom. Outside, everybody's just like, "Oh, this shit is good." Like we're looking at all this, like it's fire emojis, and everybody's laughing. But it wasn't like it didn't affect us inside because we didn't see it. We didn't like it was a whole different atmosphere. So it can affect it, but if nobody sees it, then it doesn't matter.
All right. Now we're gonna segue real quick. I do have a question. The Young and Ace post, when you made the post with the Young and Ace song, now at the time, right? You were alleged or supposedly oblivious of everything that was going on, right? Does
Well,
it?
go ahead. Ask the question and I'll answer it. Sorry.
Yes, sir. No problem at all. Looking back on that now, do you think that may have been possibly not the best decision. I know you're young, you're hip, you're somewhat in, I'm sure you're pretty much somewhat in tune to what goes on in hip hop, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, do you think that that may not have been the best decision as far as like the timing, given the person you're representing and the person that she's on trial for the demise of? How do you feel about that now? Just asking, or we can go past if you feel necessary.
So there were 2 times where I posted a Young and A song, and I just want to
Yeah.
make sure we talk the right one. Are you talking about the one where we were working at night? And I don't know if you knew we were working, but there was a picture with me and a few other people in the picture. It was a selfie.
Yes, I think, and it was the ending song of the beat. Like it
Game,
wasn't the words, but it was the beat, right?
yeah,
But
game over. It's
right, that
game
one.
over. Yeah. So what I'll tell you this, because you said the word oblivious. So before this trial, I didn't know ATK, 6 Block, the beef between the two. I didn't know um, really the music at all.
Mhm.
The only thing I did know was that I heard Julio's songs on Instagram and whatnot, but
Right.
not with his music video. I saw people like, you know how you do like a what do you call it, like a voiceover,
Mhm.
or like a like the music is playing and people are acting out something, right? So like the one song where he's talking about Corbin getting shot, and he's like, "Who's Corbin?" I forget what song that is right now. You know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the beatbox
That one.
remix, I think. Unfortunately, I do know that. I'm in tune as well, but yeah, I shouldn't have known that off the top of my head. I'm too old for
That
this. God
that
forgive me.
right.
But
So
yeah,
from
that one.
I had heard that song before. I didn't know it was from a person named Julio, but I heard that song and it's burned in my head. And a lawyer that I know, had played the song. He was in his car, right? Um, and he's making a video, and it's like the caption is like, how I act when I'm outside of the courthouse or after I just left the courthouse and I get in my car, something like that, right? And they play the song, and you hear it, and they're talking about, you know, what happened, or they listen to the song, or they're talking to their client, right? They pretend like they're talking to their client, and the client is telling them Corbin got shot. And he's like, okay, and then
Oh my God.
and then and then they're acting as though the client is telling them all these things about all these people who died, and then the lawyer's like, God damn, like it's a lot. So there was a lot of people who made like little mashups like that. So I had heard that song. When we came closer to the trial, when I got on the case and whatnot, I learned of the other music videos because it was part of the case, right? So I had to go do my own deep dive about ATK and 6 Block and all these different things, and so I learned all of it, right, before the trial. And then as we are um, like coming up on the trial, again, refreshing my memory about all these different music videos and whatnot. And so I'm listening to them and I'm starting to pick and choose which ones I actually like for myself.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't have no personal, like feelings towards any of these people, but I like some of the songs.
Mhm.
So the Game Over song um, that I posted, it was like a quick thing. I took the screenshot. I usually post some music with the whatever I post at the time, and that song was in my head at the time, and so I used that, and I took the words out, just used the music itself. At the time, I posted things on my Instagram all the time, and no one ever saw it. It never went anywhere, cause it just like it didn't just went to my friends or whoever follows me. Then it blows up, and it's a big deal. So at that time, like maybe I should have just chose a different song or just not chose a song at all. So yeah, if I would have known that it was going to be such a big deal to people, I would have not done it. So I guess that's the answer, the long answer to your question. But do I regret it? You could say I wouldn't do it again, right? Um, but like, is it the worst thing in the world? No. I
Mm-mm.
mean, these people were making these songs. I mean, whoever is mad about the fact that I posted the song itself, I'm sure they listen to the song, they like it or whatever, or they don't like it, and they like the other songs from the other side. I still think I like the song, not for like the fact that somebody's dead, right? Or that it's glorifying a death, but the beat, the
Yeah, sonically,
yeah, yeah.
it
So
might be the tempo. It sound good to you.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah, man, I listen
I like
to
some of the
drill
Fully
music.
songs too. So it is what it is. I listen to a lot of songs with people talking about killing people and selling drugs. And do I live that life? No. Do I represent people who live that life? Sometimes. But it is
It's
what it
part
is.
of this. Hey, somebody got to do it, man. But hey, I appreciate your honesty and that you to some it's wrong, to you it was just a moment. I'm gonna just say it was a learning experience, and hey, man, keep going, keep doing your thing, brother. Um, would you represent? Would it? I don't know how this works. I'm just asking. Would this once the Alicia Andrews case wraps completely? Would you be able to represent? First of all, can you legally and would you represent someone from the KTA side if they reached out to you?
You mean ATK?
No, Fulio's
Oh,
side,
six block. I think
six
Julio sent
block
me.
KTA, yes, sir.
Oh, is it called KTA too? Six block?
Um, I know it's
I
that
guess
I'm not all the way sure, but I know KTA and ATK are factors against each other. Six
okay.
block and KTA are teams. ATK and 1200 are teams. I shouldn't know all this, but anyway, yeah,
So yeah, but the question is, would I represent somebody on Julio's side?
yes, sir.
So legally speaking, I should be able to.
Okay,
It would kind of depend on whether the person I'm representing has any connection to the case that I had with Alicia Andrews, or
right.
the representation of that person would be, of the same issue. And I don't know that it would be because really nobody in Six Block was involved in this whole thing. So legally speaking, could I represent the person? I believe so. Would I represent the person? Like I don't have any issues with people in Six Block unless they got issue with me. I don't know, but I represent people who come to me and need help. Like I'm not beefing with Six Block.
On the record, so you guys know, it's not ATK Jeremy. No, this man is Acelia
Right.
Law.
I don't know who.
Jeremy Mclymont from Acelia Law.
Yeah.
Speaking of Acelia Law, I saw it, but I'm gonna let you explain it if you don't mind, sir. The origin of the name. I don't want to butcher it.
I got
So
you.
if you don't mind, can you give us the origin of the name Acelia Law? What it
Uh,
means?
Yeah. So I'll tell you how I created the name, and then you learn what it means. So when I first decided I was going to open my law firm, because I was working at the PD's office first, public defender's office in Miami, I decided I'm going to open my own law firm. So it took me a long time to come up with a name. I personally did not want my last name to be the name of the law firm.
Mhm.
So I had to think like and be creative. My middle name, Alexander, I like it for the fact that it's Greek and it stands for defender of men, right? So I wanted to like play on that word somehow,
Mhm.
some way in my law firm name. So I looked up like I go on Google, J Alexander, right? J with a period, Alexander, JAY Alexander, to see if there are law firms like that. And of course, there's a thousand
Thousands.
zillion law firms with the same name, right? So like that's not gonna work because I want something unique. So in college, I had a t-shirt company. This t-shirt company I used to make with different graphics, like social justice geared graphics. So I would have like a
Mm,
Malcolm X on a t-shirt, and or I would have like a Black Lawyers Matters on a t-shirt. So
mm,
I would make t-shirts like that. But the name of that company, it was called Asili, Asili, right? That word is just a Swahili word and it means origin. So I had that word there. And then I started putting things on paper. I put Alexander on paper because I wanted that to be incorporated. And I put Asili on paper. I wanted that to be incorporated. So I just took the A from Alexander. I put it on the back end of Asili. Asilia is what it turned out to be. and
Mhm.
it sounded okay. It sounds cool. It sounds like something that I could say. And then when I put it together, Asili, which is a Swahili word, means origin or original. And then my middle name, the A from Alexander, means defender of men. So when you put them together, it stands for the original
Original
defender
defender of
of men.
men. Wow.
So when I put that together, it was like, oh, that's it.
Oh, that's it. I'm going to get that tatted. No, I'm just joking. But
I got a trademark. So, so yeah. So long. That's I guess long story short. That's how it happened. It took me a long time to do that, to come up with it and whatnot, because I play with so many different names and variations of all that stuff. But that's what it came down to.
that's a good one, man. I like the name. I like the name. I do have more questions for you. Some of them not so serious.
Mhm.
Uh, what's the what do you think are the three biggest trials of 2025?
25 Diddy's trial. It's definitely one. Even though we didn't get to see it, it was the.
Right.
I think it's the big. Yeah, it's the biggest trial of 2025. Um, who else tried cases in 2025? Trying to think of like the celebrities that went to trial in 2025. Because I didn't watch all of them. I do know that there was some other ones. I think there was like a. I, I can't
then,
say.
then how much time do you even have to look at other trials when you're
I
constantly
don't. I don't. I don't have a lot of time to look at other trials. But the Diddy one was like, and the reason why I answered Diddy so quickly was because it's just like nobody could get away from that one, right?
right?
So yeah, so that one, you might be able to say that this one was one of the big ones, right? Because of the fact that it was a murder of a rapper.
It
Um,
definitely was.
yeah, and I don't know if you have other ones that I could. If you give them to me, I could try to rank them. But off the top of my head, I don't know what else was there.
It seems like a lot of them are still going.
I feel like
I
there's a lot.
thought, and they weren't.
Of,
And hmm?
I feel like there's a lot of husband and wife killings and whatnot this year.
Yeah, and beheadings and stuff like that. Honestly, I feel like for our community, the sector we're in, your trial was definitely it was like Diddy, Alicia, the Milagro was kind of creeping up on third, but it's still other stuff that's still going on. So I would probably just give that a honorable mention. I'll give that a third place just because. Shit, I can't think of nothing else right now. But what's your three favorite lawyers? I
Oh
saw the books on your desk in your old interview
yeah,
with was that G Shit podcast.
yeah, yeah,
Were
yeah.
those in were those indicate of were those an indication of your favorite lawyers? Because I saw Johnny Cochran,
Mhm,
Ben Crump,
mhm.
and who was the other? What
So
was the other?
Probably Brian Stevenson. It was probably Brian Stevenson.
Those are
So
three.
yeah, well, so let me tell you, favorites. You want them dead or alive? You want them alive? How you want them?
Let's go top five dead or alive lawyers. Top five dead or alive.
All right. So I got Johnny Cochran. I got this is somebody you all wouldn't know. His name is H.T. Smith.
Okay.
Some people know him, right? Because he's very popular in our circles and whatnot. But he's my professor in law school.
HD or HT?
H.T. Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Um, and if you want an explanation for that, I could explain that a little bit later. But I'll give you the people now. So Johnny Cochran, H.T. Smith, Brian Stevenson. That's three. I'm gonna go Charles Hamilton Houston. That's four, five. Who's the fifth one? Let me see. Let me get the fifth spot. Who I said already? Johnny,
They could.
HT,
Yep, you
Brian.
got Johnny HT, Brian Stevenson, Charles Hamilton Houston, and one more.
Oh,
It could be somebody young that
sure.
graduated from Miami. They used to cut hair. They used to,
Nah,
no,
it
I'm just
wasn't.
saying. Now take yourself out of it, man. You got to put somebody else.
These are my favorite, right? Like, so yeah. So,
Yeah,
uh,
favorite. It could be personal. They don't have to be world renowned. Just your favorite.
I say those are
Your
my
top five.
Those are my Mount Rushmore. Those four that I just gave you.
That's the Mount Rushmore?
I'll say that. If I think of the fifth one, I'll let you know.
For sure, for sure. We gonna we gonna throw your girl Arian in there. I like how she was handling her business up there too. Shout out to her. Um, oh, I gotta ask the petty questions, man. Judge me. Uh, they'll get on me if I don't ask. Um, where how do the clients who are in confinement that have to come to court, where do they get their apparel from?
From the family, right? So family members will either bring them clothes. In certain instances, I have to bring clothes. I had a trial. I just finished. What's today? Saturday. I finished it on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Um, I ironed his clothes on Thursday morning before closing arguments, before he testified. I ironed them myself. His mom and
Wow.
them up from I think Burlington Coat Factory, brought them to where I was staying in a hotel in Fort Myers. I ironed them that morning and took them to the courthouse. So it's like the wardrobe, all that stuff
Excuse me.
is stuff
Sorry.
that people bless you. It's stuff that people
Thank you.
don't always think about, but they're in jail. They don't get to pick their own clothes, and it's not like they on FaceTime with whoever's buying them, and they're just like, hey, I like this one, I like that one. So it just depends. Like for Alicia's case, he had 2 weeks worth of trial. The family sent us some clothes, and we went out and we picked up some clothes from here, from there. We put things together, and we can't like try them on. Like we can't like it's not like a
Right.
fitting room where you can go try it on and come back. No, it's like we gotta put things together, like in court right before it starts or whatever. So it's difficult. I hate when I have a client in custody. There's a lot of things that are inconvenient for that individual, and if they're not rich, then
Mhm.
you can tell sometimes with the wardrobe.
Right. And that was the thing. Like, of course, like I said, we pick fun, we look for moments to when we're watching a trial with y'all, we're in court with y'all, whether y'all know it or not. Like over here, we sat through the entire trial every day that you guys, every minute that was live streamed, we watched it. So as a host, I may give some criticism or make jokes that at times may be distasteful. I'm sitting here for 10 hours. You know what I mean? So I might be like, look at that damn jacket, and now the whole chat is like, oh, I'm not even going to go into the jokes, but
Yeah.
because it's not, you
I think
know.
I saw some. There was a jacket and some shoulder pad stuff. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah. So, it,
But the reality is, um, these people are fighting the majority of the time, they're fighting for their life. And they are allowed some type of dignity. Like when I saw Arian was responding to people criticizing Alicia about her laughing in court, or even her getting makeup put on her. You know what I mean? Like you explaining that gives a little bit more insight as to why she may be getting her makeup done right there,
yeah,
because
right.
she's a woman. She wants to be presentable, fit. You look good, you feel good, you do good. Sometimes that goes hand in hand, right? So it's like I can understand that, especially hearing it from you now. I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you about to say, Jeremy? My fault.
I was just gonna give you, some examples. So, um, like people don't realize like you're in jail for years,
Mhm.
and like you don't get a good shower, you don't get to go to the barbershop, get a nice cut, go get a weave or whatever it is that you might do on the outside to look presentable for wherever you're going. Um, if you are a man and you're going to trial, you might want a haircut, right?
Yes.
You might want to look good, right? She's not putting on makeup because, you know, she just wants to do it, or that's just like something that she needs to pass the time. She want to look presentable in front of the jurors, right? So anybody would want that. You're on trial for murder. You want to look your best. You don't want to look crazy. You don't want to look like, like you don't care about your life. So for anyone to say like, oh, why is she putting on makeup? It's kind of obvious. I don't know why you have to ask that question. And and why it's happening right there in court is because we don't get to go into jail and dress her and
Right.
the makeup on her in jail. It's just like they bring her out, and in those few moments before court starts, we have to put things together, right? So it is what it is. There's just no way to to get around that. Your client's in jail. Like these are the inconveniences that happen when your client is not
Right.
out.
And we just happen to we catch those moments
Well, the
and
camera,
we judge them off of just the moment. You know, we
and I don't know why the camera is recording that stuff. Like they're doing it for a reason, right? Like just take the camera off her while she's walking into court in handcuffs, while she's getting set up and all. Like there's no point in that. Like I don't think in the Young Thug trial, I don't ever remember seeing them like watch him walk from out of the back or wherever they had him in handcuffs or whatever.
it's
Just
very little, it's very little footage of that.
yeah,
There's like the one time I think somebody tried to hand him a pill you can see or something, but it's not much footage of it though, to be honest. It's not.
yeah. But
But
like it's just like the dignity that you talked about earlier. It's like camera people. When we start, like when we actually start the trial, turn it on. But like before that, as we're getting ready, as I might be talking to her or whatever, just like let it go.
they're watching it all, and that plays into the court of public opinion as well, you know. But then, like I said, you can explain and give more insight as to why, because it should be to you know for you it should yours it's like second nature. Everybody should know this. That's a whole thing that everybody out on the outside watching forgets. You know,
Yeah.
like we're not considering that in that moment until you sit down and slow down and think about it or something. But yeah, I do have a question now. How much of a factor is client demeanor in the courtroom?
That's very important. Um, very, very important. You, as a client, the jury is always watching you, or the client is always being watched by the jury. So you have to, at certain, and it's like sometimes it's hard when there's a piece of evidence that's being presented or whatever, and it's really damning evidence. The jury's going to look over and see what's going on. They're going to look at the lawyers, they're going to look at the defendant, right? Um, if you're crying at a certain point, or if you're laughing at a certain point, or if you're looking down, your head is down, or if you just slouch down in the chair, whatever, how close I sit to the client or how far away I am from the client is also like every little thing matters because it gives off different signals and connotations and whatnot. So the I guess the big thing throughout the trial was that people were saying, "Oh, she's laughing too much and whatnot." Half of the time that she's laughing, the jury's not even in the room.
Right.
So makeup is getting put on and she's laughing and she's laughing because I'm talking to her. And what really happened is that when she's putting the makeup on, I went to stand behind Alicia to block the camera that was behind. And then I look up and there's another camera in front. And so I told her, I was like, they got a camera right in front of us. What I'm doing don't even matter.
It don't even right.
But so we all like laughing or whatever about it. So, but the jury's not in the room. They're not watching that. So again, everyone else is seeing some of these things that the jury's not seeing. So they don't know that she's laughing. And then here's the other thing: is like in certain moments, like how is she supposed to act? Is she just supposed to sit there with a straight face the entire time? It's kind of impossible. And sometimes, like I have to, in order to get somebody ready to testify, I have to calm her down, keep her cool. So if I tell her something, or if I make light of something, or whatever, and she smiles, it's part of the process. Like she can't, like she's a human, and people have
Mhm.
to, you know, have human feelings. She got on the stand and she did excellent. She wasn't laughing on the stand. Like when the jury was watching her, she wasn't laughing. So,
Right.
and it wasn't like she was laughing because she thought it was a joke. Like it's just, and I don't know exactly at what points in times people were seeing her laugh or whatever. But if I could look at the video and maybe I could tell you this is what she's doing, whatever, I could. But just people looking at it from the outside in. Even my mom was like, "Tell her to stop laughing." I'm like, the jury's not even in the room. Let her laugh now until they come in.
That's a great see, and that's another. Didn't even think about that. Like the input from the family on your work.
Yeah,
and them not understanding. It's like,
So they, as they're watching the trial, they've seen everybody's comments, and so they see the comments and they get defensive, and so they tell me things that people in the chat are saying because they want to fix the narrative that's going on in the chat, and I tell them to just ignore what is being said in the chat. I don't care. I literally tell people, stop telling me what these people in the chat are doing and what they're saying.
mhm.
um, and yeah, so they're, they just do that because they want to help. They see it as helping me because all these people in the chat are feeling this way, and maybe that's how, you know, the actual courtroom atmosphere or environment is, but it wasn't.
Now I know you. Is that because I know you said it well in the interview? You started off with family, right? Is it still pretty much a family situation over there at Acelia Law?
For the most part, my brother works there. My uncle is my assistant. Um, for the most part, and then the employees I have, assistants that I have known since college and whatnot. So like it is tight knit.
And okay, I was just trying to see if that had any dealings on why the family was like your defense team over there, they fighting for you in the chat, like we going to we going to war for him. But okay. Now, how much of these cases do you take home with you at night? Like when you lay down and it's just silent, when the world finally slows down for Jeremy, like how do you decompress? How much of this weighs on your shoulder on a daily basis, and how do you r- decompress from that to be able to continue to do this again and again and again?
Winning helps. Right. So,
There's one. All right.
so like Thursday, I had a trial or finished the trial for someone that I knew known since I was a teenager. He was 14, was 16 years now, and his life was on the line. Had he lost, I probably wouldn't have done this interview. I would have been like, I don't feel like doing it because I would have been
And we would completely understand. We would completely understand.
but because he won, like it's a different high. So the game is like it's a highs and lows.
Hmm.
So winning helps in that situation because you're on a high and you feel good about the result. You can feel good about sleeping at night. You can feel good that the client is home with their family. So like it doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
But sometimes you do lose because no one can win every case. And in those situations, you have to, I guess I've learned, because I do take pretty much every case home with me, to answer your question, but I've learned um, for some people, right, I have to tell myself I didn't commit the crime, right?
Right.
So I can't be killing myself about it, right? And not everyone that has lost is guilty, right? But or actually did it because I have lost a trial where I thought the client was absolutely innocent. So
Mhm.
in that situation, I'm killing myself to fix the issue. So like whether it's writing an appeal or whatever, and so I'm working night and day to handle that situation. So it's like sometimes decompressing is actually doing more work for me or getting it done.
Right.
I do run every week on Saturdays at least once a week. So that's also like a way to decompress and whatnot. Uh,
5K run, 3K. What you do?
sprints.
Okay.
Yeah, sprint, short distance stuff. But that's a way to decompress. Music, um, my daughter, things of that like that.
Oh, man, I know that's right. You said the main one right there, that daughter. I know that make it all worth it.
Yeah.
Take all that stress away, at least temporarily, man. Speaking of music, well, what's your favorite genre of music? We ain't gonna hold you too much longer. Um, what's your favorite genre of music, Jeremy?
Hip hop, dancehall.
You still like J. Cole and Kodak Black? Them still some of your favorites?
I don't know. Wait, somebody got a a bug in the house. Um,
I'm on you, man. No, I'm just playing. No,
yeah, yeah.
I do my
So
research. I do my
J.
research.
Cole is been my favorite since 2010. Yeah, 2010. And that's probably not gonna go anywhere. Kodak,
Awesome.
as of right now, whatever you saw when I posted that, Kodak, he was up there for me. But Kodak has, in my opinion, taken a decline in his music in terms of like putting solid albums together. He will drop good music here and there, but whoever is putting the albums together, I mean, I feel like I need to hit him up and be like, let me put the songs together because he still can rap and he still does his thing, but like let me put the songs, let me curate the album, let me put the 10 together because he'll have like two good songs here and then two good songs there and then like some that I don't too much care for on the album, but like let me put them together. Um, but but right now, I would say my favorite, obviously, is J. Cole. Let me see. Meek Mill has been going hard for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but he hasn't been putting out any albums. It's just like here singles here and there, like little EPs here and there. Um, who else? Rap wise, at least. Uh, it's been pretty dry though, if you ask me, in terms of like rap music.
Yeah, you got some fly by nights. It's a new little or a new
Yeah, so I mean,
initial person.
yeah, so like Boss Man D-Lo when he was, and he's still doing his thing. But when he first came out, he had that stretch for like maybe a year or so where he was
Hot,
just slap.
unstoppable.
Yeah. So and
Everything he touched, anything he dropped, it
yep.
was out of there.
And Pooh Shiesty's back. So that FDO. So
That hey man, when you hear songs like the, uh, I don't know if you can answer this. I mean, but when you hear people say stuff like young young niggas say no to drugs and say yes to killing, like, do you start rubbing your hands like here comes some more cases? Like, why is he promoting? Like, I'm about to get some money now. Pooh Shiesty's about to
did he say that in the song? I missed that.
yes.
Damn, I didn't even see that part or hear that part of it. I'm just so that I mean that's crazy. But I don't rub my hands like, oh, I'm about to get some more cases.
No, please don't answer that, bro.
I'd rather people not get in any trouble. Um, but no, I don't. I wouldn't say that I like am looking forward to people making songs like that. I didn't even hear that part of the song.
Yeah,
How
half the
crazy?
time we listening to the beat,
Yeah,
song just it's sonically good.
yeah.
Well, I got a few questions from the chat. Miss Duval wants to know, what law school did you go to?
Hmm. FIU in Miami.
FIU, and was the bar exam hard?
Yeah. So I studied for the bar exam. Probably not. Probably it was at least 12 hours a day for the entire summer. At least some days it was 13, 14, 15 hours a day. I didn't want to fail the bar and have to take it again, so I took.
Right. I was
I
gonna ask, was it a one shot thing?
Yeah, yeah. So I took it once, I passed it, and I was like, good, I'm done with that. I'm not doing that again. So
Yes,
I didn't
sir.
want to like slack off and then have to do it over again because it's just more work in the end. So it was difficult, very difficult, and but we got it done.
Yes, sir. And did you pledge in college?
No.
Um, it says if you can tell what case we hope to see. Mels, what do you mean by that? She says, what case can we hope to see you? Oh, if you can tell, um,
Oh,
do you have any future cases coming up that we might be seeing your name in headlines for?
um, like on Law and Crime or something like that. I don't know. I don't think so. Off the top of my head, I definitely I don't have anything like the Alicia Andrews right now, or the Milagro Coopers and whatnot. But things happen all the time. Somebody call me next week, and who knows? But right now, I don't have, and I'm kind of glad right now I don't have anything else crazy. I had a stretch for the last 2 months. I tried 4 cases. One of them was 3 days, one of them was 2 days, but two of them was 2 weeks apiece. So for the last 2 months, I've been in trial. If you're talking 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 days and 2 days is 5 weeks in 8 weeks. So I'm out here
Right.
feeling I feel like I'm Brian Steele. He was in trial. I don't know how he did it. Brian Steele was in trial for a whole year, more than a year. I don't know how he runs a business still.
Right.
But obviously, I guess he had a client
The
to pay.
money,
Yeah,
the money he was getting for being on that trial for a year. But yeah, man. Hold on before we get up out of here, Jeremy. I just want to make sure any questions that you guys have in the chat. Any questions that you guys have for Jeremy, please put them in the chat before we get them up out of here. Jeremy, I do want to thank you. What are we saying? Black Lawyers Matter. Amazing interview. The shirts, the t-shirts. That reminded me. So you did a lot of different things on your road to becoming a lawyer, right?
yeah.
Cut hair, graphic design.
So my
If
brother does graphic design, but he would do the designs,
mhm.
and I would sell the shirts.
So marketing and sales.
Hmm.
So what do you think the future? What do you think Jeremy would be at now if he wasn't a lawyer? If that wasn't an option, what do you think you would have?
That's a good question because remember, I
You
had it in my
started
mind.
young.
Yeah, since I was like 11 years old, I had it in my mind that that's what I would be doing. I'll tell you that if I worked harder at it and I was more talented in it, I would have been a track star. Everybody wants to play football or basketball, whatever sport it is. So the sport I wanted to be a professional in when I was a kid was track. So if I wasn't a lawyer, I would have loved to have been a track star. But if I wasn't a lawyer, if I had a regular job, it's hard because I don't know what I would do if I wasn't a lawyer. I probably would just try to do some sort of business and I don't know, make some money and then retire and go live somewhere else.
Man, I don't know. That kind of tunnel vision, though, you gotta
Yeah.
give credit to that type of tunnel vision. So young and focused, man. Ben Crump, I remember you said something once again in one of your prior interviews about you say he can't try all the cases, right?
Hmm.
When something goes wrong, some social injustice.
Hmm.
Um, how does that work as far as a lawyer? Do you guys see something happen and you reach out, or do you wait for them to reach out to you? And if so, if it is a thing where you reach out, or do you plan on being more proactive now that you have more visibility?
Yeah. So we're not allowed to solicit cases. So
Okay, I
can't.
apologize. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize, but we can't reach out to people. So like if I see somebody get arrested, I can't like call them up and be like, yo, you should hire me as your attorney. That's a ethical violation. So somebody has to come to you in order for you to have the client.
Mm.
So just market, and it starts with a line somehow. But it's not just about marketing too, because the way that I've gotten these cases is because people who know me trust me and have asked me to work with them on the case and whatnot, or to take the case or to represent an individual because they know my work. So I
Mhm.
didn't just like stumble upon these cases because I had a good Instagram or a good
Mm-mm.
like that doesn't happen. Like people aren't gonna trust you with their lives if they don't know you or know your work.
Yeah, check his reviews. He has good reviews too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We I think that's it as far as questions from the chat. Very insightful interview, great original content. Man, I appreciate y'all in the chat. Jeremy, we ain't gonna hold you up too much longer. Let me see if I can get do it. Is that it? Is that it? Make sure I got everything. If not, I have to catch you. Uh-oh. Are you aware of what's going on in the YNW Melly case? Are you abreast of that situation?
A little bit. So I live in this area, so I'm familiar with the court system down here. Um, I know that his one of the co-defendants just took a plea, a favorable plea,
Yeah, Portland.
and I think he's YNW Melly himself. I don't know if he's supposed to go to trial on some sort of witness tampering case or somebody else is, but I saw that the other day. I know his trial itself for the actual murder. It's kind of wild that he's been in jail so long,
Right.
right? Obviously, he would have been out or been in prison because he had a trial before, like a couple years ago. So, I mean, that was in a reasonable time, I guess, given the nature of the case and how high profile it is and all that other stuff. But for him to like still be in jail after the case was already tried, like if a case is already tried and like what else is there left to do at this point? But they do have, I guess, some things they need to flesh out and whatnot. So I feel bad for him that he's still sitting in there for this long without a trial. And I know that the state appealed some decision from the judge, and so until that's dealt with, they're not going to have a trial date set for his murder charges. But
Mm.
it sucks. I think he hired. What did he hire?
Was it Drew Friendly?
I think he did. I think
Was
Drew.
it? Did he just because we cover all of this. We try to, and
Yeah,
if it's either I think it's Drew. It's either Drew or Brian. I think it's Drew.
it's one of the two for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those two. We
But
trying to we trying to hear your name up there, man. You know, I know
okay.
it takes time. Um,
But Drew Finland, I mean, obviously he's working on the Dirt case, and I know that's very demanding, especially when you have a client who has money and who, you know, you got to pay attention to these people a lot more than somebody who's. And I'm not saying that that's how I feel about it, but that the client is going to demand a lot when he's paying you millions. All right, so he's got that situation there, and then the YNW Melly situation here. So I'm sure he's like working both these cases night and day. Um, but
right.
but yeah, definitely good lawyers, Drew Finley and Brian Steele.
Sure, he's pent to the wall. One more, two more questions. The Queso case. Are you abreast of the Queso case and the
Yeah,
outcome of his and his other pending case?
yes, I am, and the lawyers that he had in his case, like Tara Kawas, me and her are friends. She's a
Awesome.
lawyer she's from Miami. Well, not from Miami. She practices in Miami. She's Jamaican, but she went up to Jacksonville to try that case. So yeah, I'm aware of it.
Okay. Um, does the outcome of Alicia's case have any effect on the outcome of the other guys, you think?
No, I mean legally, no.
Okay.
Will these other dudes look at what we did and maybe try to adopt some part of the defense, or will they look at how the trial happened and um, sort of know that the state is going to come at it a certain way? I think that is possible, definitely, right? Because if a person went to trial before me and had all this evidence, I would know definitely how they're going to roll it out, and how the witnesses testify, and how the judge might be, right? So I know, a lot more than I would if I just went in the first time without any information.
Yes, sir. Let's see, one, two. I got y'all. I got y'all. All right, Jeremy, we're gonna get you out of here. I promise. um, Abdul Robinson Sr.,
Hmm. That's Queso's dad, right?
Blue, the father of Queso. Um, what are your thoughts, if any, on his position in that case? Have you seen anything like that before?
Father testifying against son, no. So from my understanding, this is what happened. I guess he claims, and I don't know if it's true, but he claims that he didn't know he was going to go pick up his kids or the friends or whatever from like a murder. That he was going to be a getaway driver for a murder.
Right.
If that is correct, then they are wrong for like calling him into that situation without letting him know. That's
Agreed.
my that's my view of it. Um, from my understanding, though, th- they lived the life they lived because he lived the life he lived, and he was either endorsing it or didn't really teach them right from wrong or whatever. And I don't like the fact that he told on his kid, even if that was the situation he was in. I I just feel like, and especially for an individual who gets out and says to social media, "I'm a Muslim, and the only way I can meet God is through the grave, so I don't care about dying." If you don't care about your life, then you should have let your son go. Why
Mm,
would you snitch on your kid if you just don't give a shit about what you got going on? Like if you
mm,
don't care to die, you should have just died in jail and let and let your son get out. So to me, I think his interviews after the fact and what he said after the fact and how he acts and whatnot, I think all those are indicative of the type of person he is. And
mm.
I'm not on his side at all, even if in the beginning he didn't know what um, what he was being called over there to do to drive them away from the scene. So that's how I feel about that.
Um, some some sentiments are shared, man. Exactly. Some of the same exact sentiments are shared, bro. I'll tell you that. I think that's okay. We got a few more, just like three more questions from the chat. One more question from me, and we'll give you back to your family, bro. We appreciate you.
I got a I got an office, not office party, a holiday party at 7, so I gotta go finish
Oh
setting up.
yeah, we ain't gonna hold you up, bro. You deserve it. It's time to relax. Once again, this question, you can, if I'm wrong, if I'm too much, let me know. Do you think other charges did in the Alicia case, right? Um, maybe you can't answer this. I don't know. I'm gonna ask anyway. If I'm wrong, tell me.
Mhm.
Uh, if they were to have charged her with accessory, do you think it would have been a different outcome for her?
It could have been, right? Accessory, maybe after the fact or whatever. It's possible that it could have been a different outcome. I think that these people, these prosecutors, they try to go for the gusto.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they try to like they put everybody in the same box. Everybody had the same charges, and everybody didn't have the same level of culpability.
That's
But they're doing it, and then they get on the news and they have these press conferences and they talk about, they just want to be tough on crime, but be smart about crime. Like tough on crime is not necessarily the best thing because sometimes you provide somebody grace and mercy and compassion, right? And they'll change their life. You don't always have to put somebody in the prison for the rest of their life. Like it is not always a situation that you have to do that. You don't always have to be so tough, but you should be smart about how you deal with crime, not tough. So um, holding people accountable for their actions, and this is not about Alicia, but just in general, holding people accountable for their actions is important. When it's overkill, it shows sometimes. Like when you have the right lawyers and the right team and whatnot, it'll show, and you end up with nothing
mm-hmm.
because you were trying to do too much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me see where we at and get these last three questions out of here. Any advice for channels that cover court cases? This channel specifically, Mike from the Ville, you funny.
Um, I would say if you have a lawyer friend, that sometimes you could ask that lawyer friend for his um, input or insight into some of the things that are going on so that when you speak about certain things, you have a better understanding and grasp of the situation um, when you
Mm,
report on it. So like maybe getting a lawyer that's a friend of yours or whoever that does the type of law that whatever trial you're looking at is concerned about. And mostly a lot of these trials are criminal trials, the ones that are televised and whatnot. The only one I
right.
can remember in like recent history that wasn't criminal, that was like big news, was obviously was the Cardi B one. So maybe that's one of the bigger ones for 2025, and it's not criminal.
Oh, we covered that too. That was one. You're right.
Cardi B, and then before that was the dude from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
He had a defamation case.
Charlie Sheen?
No,
No.
ooh, what's the guy from
Who the hell is?
the pirate from the Pirates of the Caribbean? I cannot remember his name right now. It's
I don't
killing
know
me.
why I said Charlie Sheen. That guy, Johnny Depp.
So,
Yeah, thanks, Mike from the Ville. Thank you, brother.
yeah, so Johnny Depp, his trial was big, and this was civil. So most of them are criminal, these trials, but when there's a celebrity involved and it's a civil case, then it's going to be a big issue. Like Milagro, I guess, Milagro and Megan. So I would say get somebody that knows the area, that's a lawyer, and ask them the questions and whatnot. so that you're not looking at something thinking it's one thing and then it's completely different.
I appreciate that. I will take heed as well. Um, and Mike Finnerville also says anything specific to look for when it comes to covering cases, like when some stuff he sees. Oh, hmm?
Channel's not covering when it comes to law.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you reading it. I didn't know you could see the chat too. Yeah, I was
yeah.
getting lost reading it.
So
My bad, Mike.
anything specific to look for when it comes to covering cases, like some stuff he sees, channels not covering when it comes to law. Some of these
I
channels
get it
and
now. Okay.
um, jury selection is something that's always left out, right? Even when you watch like Law and Order, I had a judge, and maybe this was the he says Dick Wolf was the guy who creates Law and Order. He tells the jurors every time when they come in. Um, Dick Wolf is the guy who created Law and Order. And you want to know
Mhm.
why jury selection is not in Law and Order? Because it's so boring that even Dick Wolf couldn't make that interesting. But I think that more people should cover it because it's so important. Like you win and lose your case in jury selection, in my view. The people that are sitting on your panel, your that are gonna judge you, like if you can't convince them, you're done. If I was Donald Trump and I was going to trial and I killed somebody, if I had 12 jurors who voted for me who were Donald Trump supporters, I couldn't lose. It don't matter what the other side presents; they're not going to convict him.
Right.
So like, that's why jury selection is so important, and it should be looked on and discussed. But the issue with jury selection is that just like in this case, Alicia Andrews, it's not televised. They didn't televise it for whatever reason, right? Maybe it's
Mhm.
because there's personal information, being talked about or discussed. But I think that's something that channel should cover. Other than that, just like reading the docket, like going to the docket for these cases, reading the documents and whatnot, is something that people should cover. Uh, yeah, I'll say that.
We appreciate you, Jeremy. One more. Richie Rich wants to know. All the rappers are saying "F the streets." How you feel about that?
I saw that, and then I saw other people like with a counter argument, like, oh, you shouldn't say F the streets if the streets helped you get where you're at.
Huh?
Uh, yeah, that's what I heard. That you shouldn't say F the streets if the streets helped you get where you were at because that's how you got where you was at and whatnot. How I feel about it is it's 100% correct. F the streets. Because what people were saying is like, okay, sometimes people don't have the choice. Like they have to grow up in that environment and whatnot. Um, but it doesn't matter like where you grow up. Like you shouldn't um, justify, glorify, or make an excuse for doing street things.
Mm-hmm.
We should, and even though it's true, right? You grow up in an environment, and sometimes you are forced to do certain things. Even though that may be true, you should not continue to make excuses for it. We should be painting a different narrative about it. We should be pulling people out of the situation and helping them and providing resources and whatnot. Not not saying and you'll see it because I saw it today, right? There was somebody I don't know his name or whatever. I think he's famous. I don't know if he was like I don't want to say who he is because I don't remember.
We gonna find it. Trust.
Because I saw it today, and so you'll see it later on, probably on Instagram or whatever. It'll come across your
Definitely.
timeline where the guy is saying like, "Oh, all these people saying F the streets now. They come from the streets, and they shouldn't be saying this or whatever." So there's like a counter argument to it. There should be no counter argument. The streets and anything that comes with it is bad news.
Exactly.
You just you shouldn't be doing it. Um,
I agree.
and like so that's the situation. I agree with it.
I agree 1,000%. Jeremy, we appreciate you. You've given us an hour and 30 minutes of your time. Who knew we were gonna be here this long?
Yeah,
Man, thank you. You're a man of the people, not where you're the original protector of men, right? But you show it with your actions, brother. We appreciate you. We salute you. We hope to have you back in the
sure.
future if possible.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, we root for you, and we know, especially by your beliefs, you stand on the shoulders of greatness. You intend to go out there and do great things for the right people, the people who seem to get overlooked or forgotten about.
Yeah.
So you're fighting for us. For
Sir.
that, we appreciate you. For you dedicating your life to just being a successful man yourself. We appreciate you, brother. We thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Shout out to the chat. We ain't gonna hold him up too much longer. This man has to go and decompress. All right. Lawyers do decompress. Believe it or not. We're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
get up out of here. Streaming live from a tent in the woods in Wyoming. Jeremy, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Hope to do this again, brother.
All right. We'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
soon.
Salute. Thank you. All
All
right,
right.
fam. We are out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and end this. We can get into Discord and chop it up. And y'all wanna, we'll figure out if we do an after party or chop it up later, whatever, however y'all want to do it. But right now, we're gonna go ahead and end this stream. I'm gonna put it on private and get to work. I will be in chop it up. Salute to y'all. Y'all so aggravating, most aggravating chat in the game, most appreciated chat in the world. I don't know how to do that sound bite on StreamYard, but thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Super duper salute to y'all, man. I'm gonna hit the button. Catch me on Discord, man. Shout out to y'all. We out of here. Like my bro said, I reserve the right to be wrong. That's only room for human error. I will never send you out on purpose because that falls back on me. I also identify as a multimillionaire, and they have to give us a cash register if they have a bathroom. You understand? Other than that, this is the Illuminati Network, and we are out of here. Let's go.